And how do the hands get behind your back?
He told me to put my hands behind my back.
Okay. Continue.
I believe he had... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be 100% certain. Mm-hmm. And it's pieces that I'm...
Then roll through them. We'll put the pieces together. You've got the money out of the drawer. Open the drawer.
He had put it in his pocket. I'm sitting on my bed.
Yes.
And he had told me to put my hands behind my back.
Okay.
You're watching her try to come up with the details to fill in the story. It's amazing how many people come up with a story in their head to tell the police and think that the police aren't going to actually ask any questions. Oh, and the string? Here's a photo from the scene.
But it was dark. So I believe he told me to stand up so he could tie my hands together. And I was trying to make it loose so I could do something. But he had pulled them so tight. And he made sure I squealed before he let go.
Is your TV on? Okay.
My TV's on the whole time.
Okay.
I believe he told me to stand up. I think she realized mid-paragraph that her story didn't make sense. So she changed it. You're watching her try to work it out. And the part about the looseness or tightness of the bindings is interesting. The last time she said this, it struck me as odd. Like there was a reason for it. So she had said, well, they tied me, but I could still move a little bit. And then she said, they tied me and then he tightened it and I flinched. She didn't say squeal. I think there's a reason for this. And she's saying he waited for the squeal, as if she knew that was his intention. This sounds like a narrative that you would read when the author of a book says the point of view, this is the other guy's intention. She can't possibly know that.
So you've squealed, they're tight, and they're behind your back.
And that's when he grabs me and starts leading me down the stairs.
Okay. Does he pat you down or search you or do anything?
Thank goodness, no. Because if he had pat me down, he would have found my phone.
Okay. So you're now down at the bottom of the stairs. At this point in time, you've only seen one person, or have you seen the others before you get to the bottom of the stairs?
Before I get to the bottom of the stairs, I had seen one person.
Okay. So now you're at the bottom of the stairs.
And he keeps telling these guys to hurry up. Hurry up. It's taking too long. And he told me to look down, but I was able to see out of my peripheral. A man that I will call number 3 because I associated with him the least. He had a gun pointed at my father, asking him if he had money in his wallet and where the money was in the house. And he asked my father how much he had in his wallet. And my father answered him $60. And he kept yelling, "You better not be lying to me. Is there more? Where is the rest?" And another person who was hiding behind the wall in the kitchen, from where I stood, I couldn't see him at first. Was asking my mother where her purse was.
Wait a minute. One guy was telling these guys, plural, to hurry up, which, by the way, is a new detail. And then there's another guy hiding in the kitchen. She says hiding, not simply out of view.
So hang on a second. Who is this? Is this another guy? Is this a number? You've gone from a number 1 to a number 3.
Yes, I call this guy number 2.
Okay, so number 3. Let's stick with number 3. What can you describe of him, if anything? Including the gun.
I can only see that there was around, kind of like a revolver. Sorry.
That's okay. Remember, if you have to stop and take some deep breaths, that really does help the process.
His gun had what you call I believe a revolver. It's like one of those things you see in old Western movies. And I could just see almost like a silhouette of it from the light coming through the curtains.
So in proximity now, you're looking through the peripheral, okay? You're looking right or left from where you are?
Right.
You're looking right. So you're looking over here to the right, okay? And you can see your backs of your mom and dad who are sitting on the couch?
Yes.
Can you see what they're wearing?
I can't see what my father's wearing.
Can you see what your mom's wearing?
At that point in time, I couldn't see what my mother's wearing. It was later on that I saw what she was wearing.
Okay, so we'll go on to later on then. So there you can see them in the back. And where is the silhouette in relation to your mom and dad?
Standing in front of my father.
Okay. So is a house what lights are on the ground level?
None. They cracked open the fridge a few times for light, but the only light on the main floor was the one shining through the windows and doors.
This number 3 guy, you hear him speak. What do you notice about or know about his the words he's speaking, accent, if any?
He's not from, he wasn't, the accent's not what I normally hear. It was almost Caribbean, like Jamaican or Guyanese, or like that kind of accent.
Yep. Have you got friends who, like, reason I ask you is the Jamaican accent or the Guyanese accent, have you got friends who have that accent that you recognize it?
Growing up, there was, one of my friends was from Guyana, and I remember vaguely, like, when his parents came for school functions. It was sort of something like that.
So it's tweaking you to a Western Caribbean island area,
like Jamaica or Guyana, something like that.
Okay, so you hear him talk and describe his silhouette to me. What you see of it?
All I could see is that he's slim and tall. Again, I was sitting on the floor, but
no race.
It was dark, but
You can't put a race to him. Not with. I don't want to put a race with voice. I want a race by color.
I could not see. It was dark. I could not see his face.
Okay. And now number 2. Okay, you say that fridge doors. Where does he come into play? Where do you first see him?
I first see him when he's asking my mother where her purse is. And they kept telling us that if we just cooperated, everything would be okay.
Just to interrupt you because I want to get back to 3 before we move on to 2. Is number 3? How is his interaction with your father when he's telling him about demanding the money and the only money and not lying to him? Is he talking in a low monotone voice or is he yelling at him? How's the interaction going?
A stern voice?
Stern, but not screaming? Not angry? Okay, so I interrupted you. Now back to number 2 where he's asking your mom for her wallet.
Her purse.
Her purse
at first. And this is at the point where my mother stands up, and that's when I saw her clothes again.
Okay.
At this point in the night, obviously.
And what is she wearing?
She's still wearing her Winnie the Pooh pajamas as she was when I had come down earlier.
Okay.
And all I could see was that he had pushed her back onto the couch. And she
Who pushed her?
Number 2.
Okay.
I was pushing her back onto the couch.
Aside from this being in a different order and new details added while others are omitted, how is number 2 pushing mom back on the couch if he's in the kitchen? And in the original story, Jennifer was brought down for the purpose of asking mom where her purse was.
And she kept saying, "Where's my purse? Where's my purse?" And the guy kept telling her to sit down, and I didn't want my mom to get hurt.
How many times does she get up and get pushed back down?
I'd say she got up twice. And then they told her. The first time she stepped back and sat down, but the second time she was pushed back onto the couch.
This is only by number 2?
Yes, because number 1 was standing behind me.
Is he saying anything during this process?
He keeps uttering that we have to hurry up. It's taking too long. At that point, he kept saying, "Hurry up. It's taking too long."
Is there any other demands from either 2 or 3 or
2.
1 about wallet or purse? Is there any other?
2 was the one talking to my father, asking about his wallet.
She just finished saying it was number 3 asking about Dad's wallet. She even described the accent. And number 2 was hiding in the kitchen.
And number 1, and he kept saying, "Where's the rest of the money? And where's the purse?" was coming from number 1.
Number 1?
Yes.
Behind you?
Yes.
I thought.
But number 2 didn't speak.
Okay, well, you just said number 2 is the one who's making demands of.
No, he's the one looking.
Okay.
He's the one looking.
So number 2, as we're stepping back to, because I don't want to confuse this thing. I want to slow it
I'm
down.
sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. We're just going to slow it down. Okay, you're getting agitated and you're anxious. So we're going to slow things down again because it's very important in this area, right? As you had said that number 2 talks to your mom and says, "Where's your purse?"
Okay.
and pushes her down. So now you said that number 2 didn't speak. So let's clarify that.
Okay. What I meant was number 1 had asked her where her purse was, and she was mumbling, "Where's my purse?" And number 2 was the one that pushed her.
So your number 1 is talking to your mom from behind you.
Yes.
Okay. Where's your purse? Where's your purse?
Yes.
She gets up. And number 2?
Number 2 steps forward, and that's when my mom steps back and sits down.
Has number 2 uttered a word at this point in time?
I can't remember hearing him.
Okay. So we're just correcting what you said earlier because you said earlier that it was number 2 who was asking where the purse is, what the purse is, and now you've said now it's number 1 guy who would
I'm
initially.
sorry, it's just...
No. It's all a purpose. The purpose here is clarifying what you're saying. So number 1
I
is
just don't want to...
number 1 is the one who's doing the talking about the purse. Number 3 is focused on your dad's wallet. Okay. Number 2 pushes your mom back into place, into the scene. Now, at this point in time, can you see number 2? Can you see his description?
At this point in time, all I could see is a hoodie and slim build.
A hoodie and slim build. Do you see a gun on him?
I'm on the floor. I can't see what his hands were doing.
When you say you're on the floor, how are you on the floor? What's your position? Are you lying on the floor? Are you sitting on the floor?
I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged, with number 1 behind me.
Okay.
In her earlier stories, she said number 1 was wearing the hoodie, although the hood on it would have had to have been down. She earlier stated that number 2 and number 3 were dressed similarly. And at the time she said that, it was to avoid answering a question. She also earlier stated that only one of the men out of all 3 wore a hoodie. It is impossible for all of these statements to be true.
So, you've now got your dad, who's told him about the wallet upstairs was $60. You got your mom they're asking about a purse from number 1. Let's go from there. How is your mom dealing with this when she's getting up and getting pushed back down? Is she responding to them? Is she talking to them?
She keeps saying, because they keep uttering, if you cooperate, no one will get hurt. And she keeps asking herself, where's my purse? Where's my purse? In English. And then I believe she remembers that she didn't take her purse out. She only had a wallet that day. After she came home, she had a wallet. She was trying to find it, and number 2 was looking around for it.
Was she up helping to look for it?
That the second time, that's when she stood up to help, and that's when she got pushed back down.
Okay. Are they bound? Do you see their hands or?
My mother, when she got up, she was not bound.
Okay. So do they direct number 2 to where where the wallet is, or does he find it that you know?
I don't know.
Okay. So then what happens?
And then number 1 tells me to stand up, and because I'm cross-legged on the floor, with my hands behind my back, I couldn't get up very well. And so with one hand, he kind of pulled me up. And he said, come here. He didn't say who or what. He just said, come here. And he brought me upstairs and he said, you're going to take me to the wallet. Show me where your father's wallet. Where does he keep his wallet? And at this point, number 2 had come upstairs. And since he was upstairs...
I'm just turning this off because it's going. Number 2, sorry. So let's start there. Hang on a second again. Come with me. Come with me.
They take me to my parents' room, and I can see the bed is turned over and everything's awry.
And you're with...
Number 1 is still behind me.
Yes.
And number 2 at that point is on his way up.
Okay, so he's not up there yet. Okay. Do you hear any interaction going on between your parents and number 3? Can you hear anything?
I don't recall anything.
Okay, so you get to the top of the stairs.
And he takes me to my parents' room.
Where are you standing?
At first I was standing at the doorway, like in the middle of the doorway, and then he pushed me aside to my left a little so that number 2 can come in.
Okay. You get a good look at number 2 now of what he's wearing?
All I could tell was he had a vest, and his face was like a long oval face.
He had a vest?
No, hoodie.
Okay.
Dark hoodie.
Okay. And was there anything on his face, or could you see his face?
Again, he kept telling me to keep my head down. And every time I tried to, he used his hand and because he had me by my shoulder, he kind of just let go for a second, pushed my head down to make sure I wouldn't look up.
Okay. What the lights you said in the hallway upstairs were on? Are they on still?
Yes.
Okay. When you're looking down, can you see what number 1 is wearing on his pants or his shoes?
He was not directly behind me, and there was just so much in front of me that had happened, and I don't recall.
Okay. So where are you facing? If you're at the doorway, when you're looking in, are the lights to your mom and dad's room on? Are you now facing into the room? And what do you see? You said you saw the bed turned upside down. So the room has been rummaged through. Is that the state of your parents' room?
No.
Okay.
It like they had flipped the bed.
Okay. And when you say you moved to the left, are you still able to look inside the bedroom? Where do they have you look? Where are you looking now?
Almost like I'm right beside the wall, and my mother has a sewing table there.
Okay.
So I'm just staring I'm like looking down at the table.
In peripherals, you can't see where.
No.
And where is number one at this point?
He's still behind me.
Okay. So what's going on inside the room with number two now in there?
He's looking for my father's jeans, and he's asking me where is it. But I don't know where it is because they had turned the room around. And then number one pulled me backwards and told me to sit at the top of the banister and tied my hands back. Tied my arm to the banister.
Okay, now, did you see them recover anything inside your mom and dad's room?
I did not see anything, no.
For me to list all of the things that are different in this story would take an hour. I do want to point out that at least twice previously, she said she saw them open Mom's bedside drawer. I even made a joke about it in my last video. And they opened the drawer to get the cash that was there. Cash that was not normally there, but because it was left over from a wedding.
Are you sure? Because when we spoke the last time, there was some mention of some other money that went missing.
Yes, the U.S. currency.
So how did that get found?
I believe when they were looking for my father's wallet, they had opened the drawer, and it was in an envelope.
What drawer would that have been in?
If you're at the doorway where I was standing on the left side, the bedside table.
Whose side of the bed is it?
That's my mother's side of the bed.
Okay. And approximately how much money?
I'm not sure how much she took out for our trip. But I can only estimate about a few $100s.
They brought her up there to show them where Dad's wallet was. Yet they don't let her in the room? And they're supposed to be looking for Dad's jeans, but now they're looking in a drawer? If they tossed the room earlier, and depending on which story you believe or listen to, it could be they tossed it once or twice earlier, and they tossed it to the extent that they turned over the mattress. They didn't look in the drawers or pants pockets? And a few $100s? She'd earlier said, I think it was about $1,200. By the way, the police found Dad's wallet at the scene. The detective wouldn't have known that during the first interview, but he knows it now. They've interviewed people. He now has more reports from various officers. He now knows what was found at the scene. He got her phone. He has more information. And you can see and hear in the way he's speaking, he's not letting on. He's not confronting yet. But that's going to happen.
A few hundred, because at the time, the last time you told me, you were pretty adamant about $1,100. So I'm curious to know how you came up with that number.
I believe because when we were at the border, we stopped at the duty free. My mother was deciding whether to use her U.S. currency or her U.S. currency or her Canadian currency.
So it was at that time you remember hearing $1,100, and is that the inference you're saying? Is that because you're pretty solid saying that it was $1,100 that went missing, that was taken, and that you saw it when we spoke, and who took it, who took possession of the money?
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Were you ever inside the room? Did they ever take you inside the room? Did you ever make it past the threshold of that door? Okay, so let's come back to now. You're being taken to the banister in the upper room. Don't apologize, okay? I'm going to try and ask you questions to try and clarify points. Okay, if you don't remember, you don't remember. Okay, so there's no apologizing. The only reason you would apologize to me is if you've lied to me.
No.
Okay,
No, it's
so
I just
then in this case, then don't apologize to me. It's okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions to clarify points. So you've been taken back to the banister. Who is there?
number 1 took me back.
Okay, where's number 2?
He was still in the bedroom.
Okay. How do you get tied to this banister?
He, number 1, number 2 had come out of the room, and he had told number 2, go get Cuzzy for this drink. No, it was go get Cuz. He had said that I need the string, go get Cuz. And number 2 ran down the stairs and he came back up shortly after. And then
I'm letting the video roll here while I talk because her pause is that long. Cuz is number 3. If Cuz never went upstairs and number 1 was with Jennifer the entire time, at what point and for what reason does number 1 give an extra shoelace to number 3? I'm leaving some of these long pauses in here on purpose so you can feel and hear how long they really are and when they occur. This is solid work by him. A lot of people would try to help her with her answers or somehow try to hurry her along, but he doesn't.
And I believe number 2 was the one that tied me up. Because number 1 was still holding the gun in front of me.
So number 1 is now in front of you?
He has been in front of me since he pulled me out of the bedroom.
Okay.
And he sat me down and he was in front of me, making sure I was down.
Oh, terrific! So she sees his face in the hall. That is lit. That's not going to be the case, you say? Oh, okay.
So on this gun that you're looking at that's in front of you, can you see what type of gun is it? Does it have a cylinder or a round thing like an old gun, or does it look like more?
It just reminded me of the, television police, the handguns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's black. Can you see from there? Now you're in front of him and you're looking down. Can you see his shoes? Can you see anything else about him? I want you to think right now. It's tough to put yourself back in that spot, but you've never been tied up, I suspect, or bound like that, and now you're sitting there staring down. Is there anything that you remember about his shoes? Or his pants? Any idea where this string came from? Does it when you're seeing it come around because it's now lit? Does it look like it's come from clothing or from shoes that you might have in your house? Or you don't know?
It just looked like a black shoelace.
Okay. Any interaction, any communication going on between you and number 1 and number 2 while you're being bound?
My mother's calling for me.
Okay.
And they keep saying that to shut up.
Who's saying that to who?
Number 3 is downstairs and she's telling her to shut up.
She's telling him to shut up. What's your dad doing?
I can't hear my father.
Okay.
This is new too. So mom is only yelling now? She said they were telling her to shut up, but then it's only number 3. Previously, she said number 3 never spoke, only nodded. Earlier, she said it was number 2 who didn't speak, but then corrected that. Now, they're in a lit hall. High risk for the offenders, and that means high risk for the victim. This would be cause for great alarm.
You're now bound to the railing. Can you show me? Can you stand up and turn around and tell me? Just show on the camera how your hands are bound and how you are against the railing. You don't have to sit down. I just need to see how you were.
Just tell you.
The only reason that I need to do this is that I'm also going to ask you is that so take this back to take it out of a traumatizing event, which it is, and put yourself into a more clinical position, because I want to see how you could physically get your phone out of your waistband. We're obviously going to need to know that. It's very important. So traumatize away. Now put yourself into just a state of, I need to mechanically show how I can get access to my phone. Okay, because that's obviously very relevant. We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against a railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator? Okay, so clinically, this is now a clinical demonstration. Just stand up, focus in on how you did it. And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so take your sweater off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, but I need to go through it. Okay, so just take your sweater off. Stand up and turn around. Put this in the side that you believe it was in. Great. Turn around. So that you're looking away from me. You're looking exactly like, now here is where the banister is. Put your hands back behind your back, exactly how you remember they were. Okay? Now, and are you restrained from movement? How far can you move your hands from the banister?
They tied my upper arm.
Yes?
Around the banister.
Yes?
But my hands are bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister? Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call? 911? And do you talk down like that?
Yes, I'm yelling at the phone like this.
And how can you hear?
I turned the volume on max.
Yes? So that's exactly the way that you're talking to her against the railing. Okay, that's good enough. Sit down.
Let's listen to a little bit of this 911 call.
Please just help me. I don't remember my parents. Calm down. What? Some people broke into our house and took us all his money. Ma'am, where are you?
Does she sound far away from the phone? She's going to say the street name. Listen carefully at the end of the word avenue.
What? Avenue?
Can you hear her breath? Here it is again with the volume up. If the phone is that far away, how can you hear her breath? In the next clip, you will hear Dad scream. Some people will want to skip that, so I'll warn you before I play it. Jennifer calls out to her father. You can hear that that's when it sounds like her mouth is not close to the phone, like she's turned her head to yell for him. Compare that to what you just heard. So here's your heads up for people who want to skip that. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Avenue Road. Yes. Can you spell the street name for me, please? Dad?
And her breath again close to the end of the call.
The street address for me, please. N-E-L-E-N.
What do you believe?
Put your sweater back on. You just put your sweater on. Yeah. You want some more water?
I'm okay.
Okay. I really appreciate that. Obviously, it's very important to see it because we can't put you. It would be absolutely physically impossible to put you back into the same position, but we just needed to see how you get the phone out and make the call. Okay, so sit back, take a couple of deep breaths again. When you're up against the railing and now you've been bound, and is number 2 and number 1 still there, or are they gone?
Number 1 was there for a little bit. Number 2 ran down the stairs.
What is number 1? Is he saying anything to you?
He's saying, you obeyed, and just shut up and don't move.
She uses obeyed in past tense, then a present tense order to do something. I think here she's gearing up to explain why she was left unharmed.
And he continues yelling downstairs, hurry up. Hurry up, it's taking too long, hurry up.
Now tell me something, okay, which is kind of important. There's a safe in the house, is there not? Safe is in a fairly visible place within your parents' bedroom, is it not?
They've tossed the room maybe several times, but they don't find a safe that's in plain view. And they're on about wallets when they're worried about time, and they never ask about the safe. Not once have we heard them asking about the combination. Oh, I get it. I get it. The perpetrators are Inspector Gadget and Dumb and Dumber.
It's inside their closet.
Fairly visible, at least from the pictures. Was there ever mention of wanting the combination to that safe? Through any of the interaction of 1, 2, and 3, did they know that there was a safe in place?
I'm not aware if they knew.
Okay.
I didn't.
So you never heard any of them demanding the safe, the combination to the safe? Was there anything else they were demanding in their yelling? Was it what was the focus of what they were looking for?
Cash.
Cash. Okay. So number 1's talking to you, you obeyed, and we need to go. And where does he go from that point in time?
He's yelling down the stairs. Is there more? And number 2, I can just hear him muffling something. I don't hear him clearly.
Number 2 or number 3?
No, sorry, number 3. Number
Okay.
3. Sorry. Number 3.
Okay.
It's just a murr, but I can't hear what he's saying.
Okay.
At this point, I start hearing my parents get up. And they're moving. And my mom's yelling, "Where's my daughter? I want my daughter. Where's my daughter?" And I'm yelling, "Mom, I'm here."
Are they saying anything to your parents? I know she's yelling to you. Okay, she's yelling to you. Are they saying anything? Like, are they giving them directions as to where they're going? Or can you remember?
All I can hear is my mom right now.
Okay. So you hear them get up and you're moving, and they're moving in what direction?
Towards the basement.
Okay. Are you still hearing 1 and 2 or 1 and 3? Are you hearing all 3 of them?
Number 1.
And what's he saying?
Hurry up. Is there more?
Okay.
At this point, he throws my glasses. And he walks down the stairs.
So number 1 has her tied up, and he's just hanging out up there with her? And he's yelling, "Is there more?" To whom? Why does he throw her glasses now? They're leaving. There's no need for that. And earlier she said they threw her glasses when they were tossing the bedroom. And if she's practically blind without her glasses, how does she see to call 911 and turn up the volume? When people are severely stressed or frightened, they lose fine motor control. It's not a thing that you can help. So everything here is working against her being able to call 911, especially in that position.
So he's still up there with you. When do you, and at this, so you've had your glasses on the whole time. When does he take them off?
Right before he leaves.
Right after, so you're tied to the banister. You're just before he leaves to go down the stairs, your glasses are off. You have had your glasses on the whole time prior to that. Okay. So now you hear your parents up and they're moving towards the basement. What do you hear?
Where's the rest of the money?
Whose voice?
The one with the Caribbean accent.
Number 3. Who we've called number 3.
Yes.
Where's the rest of the money? Is that as you hear your parents moving?
I can hear them stepping down the stairs.
Okay.
And then, after number 1 joins them, after he took my glasses,
You heard him go down the stairs as well?
number 1 then left me.
Yes.
And he went down the stairs. And I asked, my mom was still calling for me, and I wanted to go, and he says no. She taken me.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. So you hear number 1 say no to your response, to your demand of wanting to go. Do you hear the questions coming, or your mom saying, where is she, where is she? Are they starting to go down to the basement? Are they on the stairs leading to the basement? Can you hear, I'm going to ask you to focus in, because it's very difficult. I'm going to ask you to focus in. Are you hearing all of them going downstairs? Can you hear that many footsteps? That's 5 sets of steps. Because if your mom is moving down to the basement with these guys and number 1 is walking down to join them, he would be later. He would be walking down. Does he go down to the basement? Or do you know? Can't tell? Here. Jennifer, take a Kleenex and just take a minute. Okay. So we're now down in the basement. They're down in your parents are down in the basement. You don't know who's down there with them. You can't tell how many people went down. You know that number 1 left and was heading down in that direction, but you don't know by footsteps who's down there.
I wasn't paying attention.
That's all right. Whose voices can you hear now down in the basement?
I can just remember number 3 saying, you lied. There's more. Where is it? You lied. You're lying.
Okay. And then what do you hear?
I heard pop. And then my mom. I heard her squeal.
So do you hear 1 pop or do you hear 2?
That's what I can't remember.
Then it's 1 or 2? Okay. And then you hear your mom squeal. And then what do you hear?
Another 1 or 2 pops.
Do you hear any voices in between other than your mom squealing? Do you hear number 3 say anything?
All I can remember was like calling for her.
Okay. Don't apologize, okay? This is nothing to apologize to me for. This is something that you're trying to remember. So you heard a pop, you heard your mom squeal, and then you heard another. Any idea how many more pops you heard?
I just remember that I heard 1 or 2, and then there was a slight break. And there was 1 more. I don't remember if it was 2 and then break and then 1, or if it was 1 and then break and then 1.
Okay. So you're saying that you heard a total of how many pops? Guessing.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay, so you hear, after those popping noises, what do you hear? After the last popping noise you've heard, what do you hear?
That's it. It's too long. Let's go. From number 1.
That's it? It's too long, let's go? Okay.
And then I just hear a bunch of foots going.
Does it sound like they're obviously coming? Does it sound coming up the stairs? Do you know where they leave?
I believe they went out the front door,
Okay.
but I couldn't see anything. It's what I heard.
It's what you're hearing. What else do you hear next?
Then I heard, once the door closed, I heard my father.
Once the door closed. She has repeatedly said she didn't hear that.
He ran up the stairs and all I could hear was moaning. Yeah. Once I heard him starting to move, that's when I pulled out the phone and I was trying to call 911.
Okay. Did you hear, after you hear that's it, let's go, do you hear any more communication between the three guys? Okay.
I was just calling for my mom.
Okay, so you're dialing 911, you've called the police, you're on the phone with the dispatcher, you're updating him as to what goes on.
And I hear my dad going out the door and he's like yelling on the street.
Okay.
And I'm calling for him, but this dispatch lady, I'm trying to...
So when the officers arrive, how do you get untied? Do you remember?
At first, they were all outside and I was screaming for them.
Yeah.
And finally, someone heard me. And they came up the stairs. First, they had to check all the rooms first, but I just wanted them to get me out.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be sitting there anymore.
While it is completely understandable that a person in this position would be eager to get free, it's noteworthy that she said she didn't want to be sitting there. The big concern was not fear that the perpetrators might still be around or concern for her mom. I don't know about you, but I'd be screaming for someone to go and help my loved one. My concern wouldn't be, I don't want to be sitting here.
So how did they get you free?
They grabbed a pair of scissors from my room. But the officer said to wait a few minutes because he didn't know how to do it, the procedure. But I just wanted to get out and go see my dad.
Interesting. She's saying she wanted to go be with her dad, but she knows dad is alive. Did she not want to check on mom or be with mom? Do you think she might be concerned about what dad saw, about what he's going to say?
He cut me. He let me go, but he cut the...
Now when you took off your sweater to show me the demonstration, there's still some marks on your arm. Are those the marks from the string? No? Where are they from?
From before.
Okay. So history-wise, we'll go into that, okay? So...
Just so you know, my understanding is that the marks from before are not from anyone else. This raises a question. If she was bound so tightly that she winced and squealed, if she's hearing what she's hearing from the basement and her life is in danger, you'd think she'd want to get away. Why are there no marks on her from being bound?
Now, as an event, as to try and see, this is the little episode, the little technique that we use to try and see if there's something during the course of what you've told me that, boom, I trigger something, another memory. Okay, we're going to start right now. We're going to start at the point that the officers arrive. Okay, and we're going backwards.
This is a good one. For someone who is telling the truth, it can help them remember things. Someone who's lying will struggle.
Not nearly as, I don't need you to go into we're not going to be stopping you and going through to, well, what about this and what about this? It's, you may come across something. It's the reverse chronology of what you just described. Okay? Leading us back to the time you're upstairs talking to Edward. So I want you to start right now with your police officers arrive and they're cutting you free. And now let's start going backwards from that. Okay?
Just don't want to see wrong things.
Don't worry about saying wrong things, because you'll be correcting them as you're moving backwards. Okay? It's a very well practiced technique to help in memories. So, especially in traumatic events.
So my dad he had been out the door.
Yes.
And he was moaning. And just before that, they had left. The people had left.
People. Not bad guys. Guys, man. Robbers, killers. This is softening language. Remember earlier she said gentlemen?
Number 1 had said, "It's been too long. Let's go." Before that was a gunshot. Before that, they were scolding my dad for lying because there was more money and he wasn't telling them where it was. Before that, they were going down.
You're doing great. Okay, you're doing great.
Just before that, they were going down the stairs. But I could just hear my parents' footsteps and my mom. So I don't know how many of them went down. But I know for sure number 1 was upstairs with me while they were starting to go down. And then number 1, that's when, he was taking off my glasses, and that's when he went down the stairs. Am I saying something? Before that, they tied me. Before that, number 2 was upstairs as well. And he was helping number 1 tie me to the banister. Before that, number 1 turned to number 2 and said, get me the string, go get Cuz. That's when number 2 went down the stairs and came back up with the string. Before that, number 1 had taken me and told me to sit down at the top of the stairs. Number 2 was still in the bedroom. Before that, we were in my parents' room. And he was asking me about the wallet. Where's my dad's wallet? I don't remember how they got the money.
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
I don't remember how they got the money. Before that, I was downstairs. They were looking for my mom's purse. Number 3 was asking about the wallet. Number 2 was looking for my mom's purse. My mom kept standing up and sitting down, and they pushed her. Before that, I was in my room. That's when he tied me up. But before that, I showed him the money. Before that, I had heard them toss my parents' room, and that's when I looked out. No, the guy went down the stairs, and then I looked out. That's when he came, and he pulled out his gun and told me to sit on my bed. Before that, I heard my mom tell my dad to come downstairs. And that's when I told Ed I'd call him back and put my phone in my bag. Is that okay?
Yes.
That's it for now. This continues in the next video. Things keep ramping up for her. Stay safe. I'll see you in the comments.